Top 10 historic battles, one of every Pokemon versus 1 billion lions, who wins? Grab your tickets and find out this Sunday. So yeah, the topic of every Pokemon versus 1 billion lions has actually been around for a while. One of those funny little hypotheticals that you talk about with your friends while getting some pizza, or with the few nerdy coworkers that you have while you're stocking used books on the shelves. Well, ideally. Since this debate began on the internet, you'll see it over and over and over. And now here we are once again, where over the weekend, Twitter was set ablaze with the curse of a billion lions. But yeah, originally I think it was a cool idea to pass the time. As much as power scaling debates devolve into fanboyism and trolling, I'm all for the occasional thread of arguments. The only problem is that the parameters were never established for this fight. I mean, do we go based on the Pokédex entries, video game stats, anime rules, heck, live action movie rules? I would assume that we're going by anime rules since it uses real-time combat, and that's the one thing that the general internet users are aware of. I mean, if Pokemon were real and fought against the lions, I doubt it would be a turn-based battle. So if you're having this kind of discussion, you need to establish those rules right away. Though I feel like most of the time it's based on an all-out real-time battle. The point is that while it sounded like a good topic for an internet debate, it was doomed from the very start. As we continue to get more and more Pokemon every year, this one in general only gets worse for the lions. I mean, even back when the question was first posted, I think it was pretty clear that the Pokemon could win, though it didn't stop the lion side from trying. What was once a legitimate debate that I could make for some interesting discussion, or even just actually something proposed by Pokemon fans to talk about amongst other Pokemon fans, it's now devolved into pure content slop. Nowadays, I don't think there are many people who genuinely believe the lions could win. Maybe they really believe in the numbers, but I think that there's a good amount of people who are just trolling for the heck of it, because there's a bunch of replies talking about how lions could band together and form a ladder or catapult or whatever the heck this thing is, and that's already moving the goalpost a bunch because then those don't become lions, those become cartoons.
Alex the Lion!
And I know they're being done solely to troll, but I think that's actually pretty funny. I personally am all for gaslighting and saying things that I don't believe in order to get a reaction, because that's just how it is on the internet. I typically don't engage in this discussion because I know Pokemon would obviously win and the lions don't stand a chance, and we can all be happy knowing that this is all for show, and at the end of the day we go back home and, I don't know, eat pizza rolls while playing Fortnite together or whatever. So if you want GatorX's true opinion on the debate, that's it, I'd choose to reject the question. But I think it's just about run its course and isn't even funny anymore, so I've decided to now be petty and fight on the side of the Pokemon. 1 billion is a big number, like you've seen just how it compares to the 1,000 Pokemon that we have. 1 billion is a whole 1,000 millions. Most people have never even seen a billion of anything. You ever Google a picture of a lion? They're all laying down, doing nothing. There aren't even a billion lions in existence, you're just making things up from the get-go. Having a billion lions on one side isn't enough because Pokemon just have insane levels of incomprehensible power, because they're a bunch of magical creatures. Lions are strong and fast for being regular animals, but they're so feeble when compared to something on a totally different plane of existence. Yeah, there are only 1,000 Pokemon in this scenario, but when even some of the smallest are capable of incredible levels of power output, it's more like 1,000 hydrogen bombs versus 1 billion coughing babies. And baby fans would still probably say, but that's a lot of babies. I don't even want to start bringing up individual Pokemon specifically because there are so many cases of singular creatures that just cause devastating effects with their moves or physical presence. And that isn't even considering any of the legendaries or mythicals with world and reality altering abilities. It's constantly brought up how certain Pokemon just turn the tide so dramatically regardless of the billion oppositions. And while that is true, it kind of becomes a little boring. Though I do like the idea of imagining how any single one of them could cause so many casualties on their own. And I always love seeing Pokemon fans present their hypotheticals of how one individual Pokemon would wreak havoc. Not in the same way I'll just see the reply of Lion Mech as if that's supposed to mean anything. Bro, they really think they're Zygarde complete or something. So for the sake of not repeating things too much, I won't bring up the fact that Arceus can warp reality, Giratina is a master of dimensions, Palkia and Dialga control space and time. Okay, I was gonna end that sentence bringing up Groudon and Kyogre, but I accidentally said Gardevoir instead of Groudon. I wrote it in the script and then I said it too, and I can't really fix it unless, I pop in and say that here. I do like all the Z moves that we've been seeing as counterpoints because so many of their animations are amazing, and it's another chance to highlight one of my favorite legendary Pokemon, Ultra Necrozma, which has such a cool design as one of the single most destructive Pokemon out there with how it steals all light, and yeah, the Z move being called Light That Burns the Sky is just absolutely sick. I will say that one of the most interesting Pokemon I haven't seen brought up all that much is Eternatus, because this is just about the most powerful Pokemon there is. I don't even know what to make of the appearance because it's yet another incomprehensible horror from beyond the stars. And yeah, in canon it could just legitimately cause every single Pokemon to Dynamax and Gigantamax all at once. Call me Chairman Rose because I'd bring about another darkest day. Who cares about the present as long as we secure our future? There are just so many individual Pokemon that you could bring up as gotcha moments, but it isn't really structured all too well and doesn't make for great discussion. They're more suited for one-off funny tweets. I think there should really be one of those animations that play out the scenario to really bring it all together. But it would still be insane to see how some legendary Pokemon actually fare, because even if we just go with what we actually see happen in the video games regardless of the Pokédex, as that could potentially be unreliable and misleading, there still are some crazy things we see in legendary Pokemon have done when we actually observe the cutscenes, documentation, and just some of the actual mechanics that come into play during the story. Like I said, I'm still backing Eternatus as the one thing that just annihilates almost anything. I think some of my favorite posts are the ones that propose one of every Pokemon with a unique form, because that would technically bring in over 4 billion Spindas. Now that is a lot of Spindas. But yeah, for the most part, I think the debate is a weird meme that comes back every few months to a year just to terrorize the internet. I've also seen some other Pokemon-related power scaling debates brought up in the wake of this week's revival, and those have been pretty entertaining. If anything, I think those are more interesting and make for even funnier memes, because the Lion fans just need to get some new material. Again, I'm sort of indifferent in the sense that I don't really care anymore, but I'm glad I was able to have some fun talking about it today and go off about how Pokemon would definitely win. Today I let myself be petty, and that'll extend to blocking anybody who says a billion lions could beat every Pokemon. I am not even kidding. Though I almost want to try to actually participate in some video debate on the topic against another creator, because out of some of the ones I've seen, I feel there are some better points and arguments to be brought up. I would admit that if it were a turn-based gauntlet and every Pokemon is limited by the PP they have in the video games with those mechanics, it isn't looking good for them just based on the pure numbers. Like I said, it all depends on the parameters of the fight that need to be established from the very beginning. Okay, so I'm gonna take back what I said about the turn-based battles and everything, because in Legends Arceus we had those noble battles and those were not turn-based, and in fact those Pokemon aren't limited by PP and the moves that they use in the overworld when it's not the little turn-based battle that you can enter, which is actually really interesting. So yeah, there is just precedent in the actual Pokemon games for them not actually battling turn-based wise. So let me know what you think in the comments about this one Pokemon meme and how it's been able to stick around for this long. And who do you think would win this epic battle? Anyway, I'm gonna get back to waiting for the next wave of new Pokemon to bolster our forces. Thank you to every channel member for your continued support, including the great Gators, Michael Snyder, Koi13, Cemetery Hill, Pastel Blood, Cosmo Zero, Mr. Saturn, Rainfrux, Cheezit62, Alex Switch Shiny Hunter, Lockadox, Gator Kid 509, TF, Mathaclaw 947, Taijirai, Justin R, Phantom, and Quago. If you would like to support, see your name here, get access to emotes for comments, live streams, and sometimes early videos, you can become a channel member today. You can also follow me on Twitter as well for more memes, but anyway, this is GatorX, and I'll catch you all later.
All at once, Simba let out a mighty roar. Then the evil Zera roared even louder.
What you doing?
Playing Lion King with Daddy.
Now McDonald's has all the fun and adventure of Disney's brand new video, The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. In a Happy Meal, you get one wonderfully squishy animal just for buying the food your kids already love.
See, Pumbaa.
Only at McDonald's.
Did somebody say McDonald's?